The homecoming ban is considered effective in suppressing people's mobility. SOE Minister Erick Thohir fired the directors of Kimia Pharma Diagnostika. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Clara Antawijaya, and this is Market Headlines. The Minister of Transportation claims that this year's homecoming ban policy is effective in suppressing the people's mobility. Moreover, the policy was carried out since 14 days before Eid al-Fitr and 7 days after Eid al-Fitr.
Minister of Transportation Budi Karya Sumadi said based on a survey conducted by the Ministry of Transportation, as many as 7% or 80 million Indonesians continue to go home for Eid this year. However, with the policy of tightening and eliminating homecoming, the realizations of the number of travelers currently is only around 1.5 million people. On this basis, the policy to ban homecoming this year is considered effective. As a part of this travel tightening policy, the government has also implemented a random test and mandatory check for COVID-19. This is an effort to prevent an increase in COVID-19 cases after the Eid holiday, which take effect from May 15, 2021.
Dari survei itu kita bisa melihat bahwa kecenderungan masyarakat itu kalau dibiarkan maka 33% mereka akan mudik. Kalau akan dilarang itu turun menjadi 11%. Pada saat larangan di mana kampanye sudah dilakukan turun menjadi 7%.
The implementation of the random COVID-19 test was carried out for the flow of community movements from the provinces of East Java, Central Java, Yogyakarta, and West Java to Jakarta. Random tests were conducted at around 21 checkpoints in all provinces in Java. From Jakarta, Devi Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Indonesian Railways Company, or KAI, stated that today, or 4 days after Eid al-Fitr, a total of 2,000 passengers entered Jakarta via Gambir Station and Pasar Senen.
Head of Public Relations of KAI for Operational Area 1 Jakarta, Eva Hairunisa, confirmed that KAI only departed 7 trains per day during the homecoming prohibition period. Departing passengers also have special requirements, namely due to official travel and urgent needs, as evidenced by a letter from the relevant agency. Eva said that during the homecoming ban, only 500 to 1,000 passengers per day departed from Jakarta. Meanwhile, as of today, she explained that only 900 passengers entered Jakarta through the Gambir station and 1,100 people entered Jakarta through the Pasar Senen station. Eva said long-distance train passenger traffic decreased drastically. According to her, this is because the homecoming ban has been socialized.
KKA yang datang itu juga terbatas, hanya 7 KA, 3 dari stasiun Pasar Senen yang datang ke stasiun Pasar Senen dan 4 KA yang datang ke stasiun Gambir. Sehingga secara total kalau kita melihat pengguna jasa masyarakat yang menggunakan kereta api jarak jauh yang tiba di Jakarta, ini pun jumlahnya juga sangat sedikit karena memang KA yang dijalankan masih sangat terbatas tadi. Yang tiba di Jakarta perharinya pada masa peniadaan mudik ini hanya 7 KA per hari. Nah, 7 KA per hari itu 4 KA itu tiba di stasiun Gambir, itu relasinya ada dari Surabaya, Solo juga. Nah kemudian kalau 3 KA lainnya dari stasiun Pasar Senen itu relasinya ada dari Purwosari, Purwokerto, kemudian juga Tegal. Nah kemudian juga seluruh penumpang yang datang ini rata-ratanya juga sangat jauh jika dibandingkan dengan angka volume kedatangan penumpang di masa pandemi. Mungkin kalau di masa pandemi itu rata-rata volume yang datang ke Jakarta pada saat akhir pekan itu mencapai sekitar 4.000 sampai dengan 5.000 untuk stasiun Pasar Senen, untuk stasiun Gambir sekitar 3.500 sampai dengan 4.000.
Eva said that after the homecoming ban ended, train travel would return to the way it was before. Train travel will continue to carry out health protocols by including proof of COVID-19 free letter. From Jakarta, Rizka Ayu, Agus Dwi Prasetyo, IDX Channel.
The Committee for the Prevention of COVID-19 and National Economic Recovery believes that the economic growth in the second quarter of 2021 will be able to reach 7%.
The Committee for the Prevention of COVID-19 and National Economic Recovery believes that economic growth in the second quarter of 2021 will be in positive territory. It is believed that national economic growth will be able to reach the 7% level if there is no spike in new COVID-19 cases after the Eid holiday. Chairman of the committee, who is also the coordinating minister for economic affairs, Erlangga Hartarto, said a number of economic indicators were improving, such as the Purchasing Manufacturing Index or PMI, export-import, investment realization, government and household spending, and consumer confidence index. This reinforced the government's assumption that the trend of improving growth will continue.
Di kuartal pertama memang minus 0,74, namun ini kita lihat bahwa trennya adalah tren ke arah positif dan confirm bahwa perekonomian kita tumbuh V-curve, dan kita berharap bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi di kuartal kedua akan masuk jalur positif dan diperkirakan bisa mencapai 7%. Dan tentunya yang perlu kita lakukan ke depan adalah mencegah agar tidak terjadi lonjakan mobilitas masyarakat, terutama pasca mudik ini, dan pemerintah sudah mengambil beberapa langkah, antara lain tentunya adanya kewajiban bagi pemerintah untuk melakukan random test di beberapa titik menuju Jakarta.
He also said that economic recovery was also supported by several government policies such as tax relaxation for the purchase of vehicles and property. This really encouraged people's consumption to jump quite high. In fact, the automotive and property sectors have so far provided a very large multiplier effect on their derivative sectors. From IDX Channel team, reported.
After a long-awaited moment, Gojek and Tokopedia officially merged under the GoTo Group. The CEO of GoTo Group, Andreas Sulistyo, stated that the formations of the GoTo Group marks the next phase of the growth for Gojek, Tokopedia, and GoTo Financial.
Long-awaited, Gojek and Tokopedia officially merged under the GoTo Group. This was expressed directly by Tokopedia CEO William Tarwijaya in a post on his Facebook account. According to William, the name GoTo stands for Gojek and Tokopedia, as well as symbolizing the spirit of mutual cooperation that underlies the merger of the two startup giants from Indonesia. Andreas Sulistyo from Gojek will lead GoTo as CEO of the GoTo Group. Tokopedia President Patrick Chow will serve as GoTo President. Andre will also continue to lead the payments and financial services business called GoTo Financial. GoTo Financial includes GoPay services as well as financial services and business solutions for business partners. Meanwhile, Kevin Alui will continue to serve as CEO of Gojek, as will William, who remains CEO of Tokopedia. Andreas Sulistyo said that the day of GoTo Group formation is a historic day for both parties. For information, according to GoTo, as of December 2020, the group has more than 2 million driver partners, more than 11 million business partners or merchants, and more than 100 million monthly active users, and contributes 2% of Indonesia's total GDP. The GoTo Group is supported by a number of large domestic and foreign investors, including Alibaba, Astra International, Facebook, Google, KKR, Visa, Telkomsel, as well as Tencent and Temasek. IDX Channel team reported.
Stay with us, market headlines. We'll be right back.
transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut? Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, dan pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira Brent hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri, yang itu kira.
Konfederasi Serikat Pekerja Indonesia atau KSPI menentang keras jika pada tahun ini pemerintah kembali mengeluarkan kebijakan pembayaran THR tidak 100% atau dicicil.
Tidak ada alasan lagi pandemi COVID-19 sebagai alasan.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. It is finally fixed. Government has set the price for the Gotong Royong vaccine used in private vaccinations program. It is worth 325,000 for a dose. Meanwhile, maximum service tariff is 177,000 a dose. Indonesia uses Chinese-sourced COVID-19 vaccine Sinopharm for private vaccination program, which Food and Drugs Monitoring Agency has officially issued an emergency use authorization for the vaccine. It is worth 321,000 for a dose. Meanwhile, maximum service tariff is 177,000 a dose. The purchase price of vaccine is the highest price of vaccine dose purchased by a legal entity, business entity, including 20% profit margin and distribution cost, but does not include value-added tax. The financing of Gotong Royong vaccinations is regulated through the appointment of biopharma, whereas the regulations have been stipulated by the decree of the Ministry of Health concerning the appointment of biopharma in the implementations of the procurement of the COVID-19 vaccine. From all sources, IDX Channel. In a bid to accelerate and expand the coverage of COVID-19 vaccination in order to achieve immunity faster, the government has launched the implementations of Gotong Royong COVID-19 vaccination. So in short, the government opens opportunities for private sector to participate in vaccination program. The private scheme is known as Gotong Royong vaccination. But because the vaccinations is administered by private sectors, many people wonder how much it will cost. Just a week before, government has stated that a fixed price has been set. So let's see how much it cost in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see that the purchase price is 321,000 for a dose. Meanwhile, for the maximum rate of the vaccination service, reach 117,000 for a dose. So let's do the calculations here. The total will be 500,000 rupiah for a dose. And it must be taken in 2 doses. So it will cost around 1 million rupiah. Well, the purchase price, which is 321,000 rupiah, is the highest price purchased by legal entity or business entity, including 20% margin and also distribution cost. But it does not include the value-added tax. Same with the service fee. The maximum tariff of 117,000 rupiah is the highest tariff a dose. This has included a 15% margin, but it doesn't include the value-added tax. And compared to the vaccination program, which is fully funded by the government, of course, the price of these vaccines is much more expensive. Private vaccinations starting today, Monday, backwards from that was planned by May 9. And the type of vaccine starts with the Sinopharm vaccine. There's a plan for CanSino vaccine too, but for now, Sinopharm inoculates first. So let's see what Sinopharm vaccines is all about in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can know that the emergency use authorizations of this Sinopharm vaccine was issued at April 29, 2021. And then it has been over 982,400 doses has arrived in Indonesia. And the procurement contract consists of 7.5 million doses. Meanwhile, it seeks to inoculate 181.5 million people by January 2022. And the fact is that after Sinovac Biotech and AstraZeneca, Sinopharm is the third company to have its vaccine approved by Indonesia. The vaccine is seeking to inoculate 181.5 million people by January 2022. And the procedure is like average vaccine, whereas it is divided into 2 shots. And for the procurement of the vaccine itself, the government has entered into the contract to procure the Sinopharm vaccines of 7.5 million doses, with a number of vaccines available as much as 500,000 doses. And regarding its safety, here it is. The Sinopharm vaccine has been declared safe for use. The statement was announced by the Food and Drug Supervisory Agency since April 29, 2021, and the Sinopharm vaccine has received halal certifications from Indonesian Ulama Council, or MUI. We can measure an effective vaccine through the efficacy rate. So let's see Sinopharm efficacy rate in the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the efficacy rate of this Sinopharm vaccines. While it was stated by Beijing Biological Products Institute, the efficacy rate can reach 79.34%. Meanwhile, from the Global Times, the UAA3 clinical test, it reached 78%. Panelo Kito, as the chief of Indonesia's Food and Drug Agency, said that Sinopharm vaccine recipients has reported higher antibody rates and rare side effects such as swelling or diarrhea. But then no detailed efficacy data of Sinopharm's vaccine has been publicly released. But however, its developer, as I said before, Beijing Biological Products Institute, a unit of Sinopharm subsidiary China and National Biotech Group, has said that vaccine was 79.34% effective in preventing people from developing the disease. And seeing that it is safe to use and more people demand to be vaccinated, enthusiasm of the companies in Indonesia to enroll their workers into the gotong royong vaccinations program is enormous. So let's see how many registrants are there in the next graphic. Through the data from Kadin, we can see that there are 17,832 companies, and then for the recipients itself, it reached 8,665,363 recipients. So this is the registrants of the gotong royong vaccine program. And while through the data, we can see that the enthusiasm of the companies in Indonesia to enroll the workers into gotong royong vaccinations program is very enormous. The registrations will be open until May 20, 2021, and the vaccination itself will be carried out in stages by taking into account the zone where the company is located and the type of the sector. So if one of you own the company and want to vaccinate your workers, still there is time, but sooner the better. And yes, viewers, we hope that the private vaccinations program, which starts today, could back up the government and to reach the herd immunity. Because our goal is to ensure the vaccine protects against this dreadful disease, whatever it throws at us, to keep us safe. And stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat?
Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm associate producer and news presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Izinkan saya Winarno Jayadi selaku Direktur Utama PT Bursa Efek Indonesia.
Dan saya John Prasetyo selaku Komisaris Utama PT Bursa Efek Indonesia
beserta jajaran direksi dan komisaris PT Bursa Efek Indonesia
mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Ibu, Bapak, seluruh stakeholder PT Bursa Efek Indonesia
atas kepercayaan dan dukungannya
terhadap peningkatan produk dan layanan Bursa Efek Indonesia,
serta menyampaikan rasa syukur atas berbagai keberhasilan
yang telah kita capai bersama bagi kemajuan pasar modal Indonesia.
Mari bersama-sama menyambut hari kemenangan.
Setelah ikhlas menjalankan ibadah puasa Ramadan.
Semoga Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala meridhoi dan menerima ibadah kita semua.
Dan semoga kita dapat dipertemukan
dengan Ramadan di tahun depan.
Mewakili keluarga besar PT Bursa Efek Indonesia, kami mengucapkan
Selamat Hari Raya Idul Fitri 1442 Hijriah. Mohon maaf lahir dan batin. Memanai syukur menuju kemenangan yang berukur.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was opened at level of 5,919.6 and approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on level of 5,863.28 and the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at level of 5,833.86 and in short, JCI went down 1.76%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got BBCA went up 0.31%. We get KOTA that went up 2.22%. And then we got Telkom that went up 0.31%. And we got Arto that went up 1.9%. Meantime, for top losers for today's trading sessions, we got BBRI that went down 2.26%. We got ANTM that went down 5.99%. We got PGAS that went down 7%. And we got TBIG that went down 4.96%. And we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at a level of 14,160. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at a level of 14,269. In summary, rupiah went down 0.75%. SOE Minister Eric Thohir has fired Board of Directors of Kimia Pharma Diagnostica, and this step was taken as a follow-up to the case of the used antigen rapid test that occurred in Kuala Namu Airport some time ago. Kimia Pharma Diagnostica is a subsidiary company of listed company Kimia Pharma. The promise of SOE Minister Eric Thohir to step down directly in handling this case is evidenced by the release of a letter of dismissal to all directors. Eric stressed that what happened in Kuala Namu was an issue that must be addressed professionally and seriously. After conducting a measured assessment and based on the spirit of a good corporate governance, then decisive steps must be taken. Eric asserted that all SOEs are bound with a joint agreement and to act professionally in accordance with the core values proclaimed, namely trust, competence, harmony, loyalty, adaptive, and collaboration. What happened in Kuala Namu case was judged to be contrary of the core value. Therefore, the minister fired all directors of Kimia Pharma Diagnostica. Eric also explained that there are systemic weaknesses that make used antigen cases can occur. This has a wide impact on public trust, and according to Eric, as a healthcare company, the sense of trust gained from the quality of service becomes negotiable. From all sources, IDX Channel. Step aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations. Here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy academic business and capital market channel. I'm Lantai Wijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Saham properti yang sebelumnya sempat mengalami pelemahan, hari ini beberapa sahamnya kompak mengalami penguatan yang cukup signifikan. Dengan memanfaatkan momentum penguatan ini, rawan profit taking juga tidak Bu untuk